Welcome back to World Championship Series Europe Premier League, round of 16 in Group C. We are exactly halfway through the group as well. We already know the one man who has qualified, so let's show you the man in the golden box. That man is called Genius, and I have to say, he's lived up to his nickname this evening because he's done two 2-0s and he's done them absolutely flawlessly. We are going to find out now who goes through to fight against 4GG. It's the battle of the two Europeans. Grubby's back with me. Let's just talk about Genius a little bit because I'm running out of superlatives for him this evening. Genius, flawless. How would you summarise it?
Yeah, it's hard. We used, I think, every adjective in the English dictionary. I think it's time to branch out to other languages, perhaps.
Maybe. Wunderbar. There we go.
Wunderbar.
Wunderbar. Yeah, the Germans will appreciate that one here. So we move on to the battle of the Europeans. Now, Nerchio was a bit flat in game one, I have to say. And he goes head-to-head with ShoWTimE, who wasn't flat, but I think he was certainly very nervous. You mentioned it before.
Yeah.
Got over his nerves in the first game, came back in the second game, looked pretty decent in the second game, and then kind of got crushed in the third. So where do you think that leaves the balance of power for these two players?
Well, they both played a different opponent, and Genius proved to be the better player than 4GG, but ShoWTimE looked better in his series, even though supposedly, according to the result between Genius and 4GG, he played the easier opponent. But he looked better than Nerchio. Simply by that logic, you would think that ShoWTimE might have the upper hand over Nerchio. However, does ShoWTimE have the same strategies that Genius has? Does he have the same quick move in for the kill? Because Genius didn't really let the game develop very far, did he? And when you only make drones, you hope that the game lasts for longer because they're not very good at fighting, as we saw. If ShoWTimE lets those drones mine rather than fight, might be more difficult for him. So it's really very hard to call this game based on the results thus far, and it's going to be really a completely new combination between these two players.
Which of these two players has the better chance against 4GG? Because that's effectively what we're looking at this evening. We're going to find another player to go through from the group. So is it Nerchio or is it ShoWTimE the second time round?
It's really hard to say, but I think if ShoWTimE and 4GG plays again, the winner will be 50-50, I think. I think the way their styles match up, and even their, I mean, it sounds strange, but even their strengths, I think ShoWTimE has a 50% chance of winning if he just plays the same strategy 3 times in a row. For Nerchio and 4GG, they have a little bit of a history. And part of it is personal, and part of it is strategical and results-based. And Nerchio also knows how to exploit someone who plays the same all the time without scouting. So I think both have a chance. Maybe Nerchio's is bigger, also because of 4GG's lackluster win percentage in the Zerg matchup. But ShoWTimE definitely would give him a run for his money again if he's the one to move up.
All right, thank you very much, Grubby. It's time for our fourth match of the evening. We've got one more to come after this, of course. 4GG waiting for one of these two men. It's a classic battle between Germany and Poland. It's Nerchio versus ShoWTimE with your commentary team, Apollo and Kalaris.
All right, thanks very much, guys. Now we move on to find out who, unfortunately, drops out of this group, who goes down to Challenger, but most importantly, who moves on to play against 4GG. Nerchio versus ShoWTimE, and these guys have played a few times before in the past.
Who are you going to peg to move on to the next match, mate?
They're listening again. I'll just go. I think that
you can whisper it.
I think that, I don't know, Nerchio might have a pretty good chance here going into this series. What are you doing? Anyway, so as we have now Nerchio and ShoWTimE doing the vetoes, and in Heart of the Swarm, they've met each other quite a bit in the past. They've met each other 3 times in Heart of the Swarm.
Yep.
It's been 3-0 to Nerchio, 3-1 to Nerchio, 3-2 to Nerchio. So
well, that kind of went in one direction.
Well, not in that order, but yeah, the last series was 3-1. And it was in August, so not too long ago, actually.
All right, well, we'll see. Anything can happen here on the stage of the World Championship Series. We've seen it happen time after time after time, and even today, to some extent, how many people thought Genius would be moving on in first place, and how many people thought 4GG would be there? Now, let's see what happens here between these two players. Unexpected results consistently happening here at the WCS. Well, so far the vetoes have been quite normal, just Frost Polar Night out for ShoWTimE. Some of these maps are a little bit more harder to play on when it comes to grabbing expansion plays to play a macro Fos game. And then we had Akalon Waste getting out there out the way for Nerchio, and it has left us with 3 pretty decent, pretty well-known maps.
Yeah, certainly so. And neither player any strangers to these maps. But again, it'll be interesting to see how ShoWTimE's going to play after seeing Genius's series. But at the same time, you know, it being, well, Derelict, Watcher, Whirlwind, and then Belshir, Vestige. Nerchio's really strong if he can get past that position in the game. So if he can get past that early aggression moment, I think Nerchio has a very good shot here.
I think it was Nerchio that vetoed first, was it? And picked first, because Derelict Watcher looks like his pick to me.
Yes, I believe so.
So if that's the case here, then this is a good starting map for Nerchio. But we have to just remind ourselves that he's already played a Protoss today, and he didn't look as impressive as what we thought he would do.
No.
Let's be honest to ourselves here. But here is ShoWTimE, and just coming in at 19 years old.
Yeah, and again, do remember these percentages based on small sample sizes, and now for ShoWTimE, after losing against
That Terran's gone down. You're no longer a 100% gold star nerd after losing to 4GG earlier on. But of course, that'll be updated the longer we get into the series and into the tournament.
Yeah.
And hopefully, yeah, he can continue on. But he is going to be going up against 4GG again next if he was to be able to beat Nerchio. But it does come down to how Nerchio's going to play here. You know, he's already lost another percentage. Another game against Protoss, that's going to drop down a little bit further than 29%.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And that's obviously not a very good looking stat. And
No.
that's a red stat, and I don't like red.
That's 13 losses now against, I think, 5 wins in series. But at the same time, you know, Nerchio's an impressive player. He's a player that can actually, you know, once he gets past those earlier stages, bring out a very phenomenal play. And then, you know, using Mutalisks later on, very strongly against Protoss. Protoss have to be very mindful of that.
Yes, they do. And we'll see what's going to happen as Nerchio is just taking a couple of seconds here before he is ready. As you can see, he hasn't even got his headset on at the moment. And we will be jumping into this in a couple of seconds' time. I don't really know which way this is going to swing, to be honest. Some people like to swing one way, Colaris. Some people like to swing the other way. And I'm kind of in the middle at the moment to which way I'm going to go with these 2 players and these 2 results.
All right. Well, game number 1's Derelict Watcher, as we said. And, well, with that, you mentioned that it was probably Nerchio's pick more so than not, as this is a very comfortable map for a Zerg. And especially a Zerg that, like Nerchio, does like to try and threaten that third base if it's going to go down quickly here from a Protoss, which I anticipate from ShoWTimE. I think that that's probably going to be his focus here.
Yeah, that may be his focus. I know for sure Nerchio's focus will be to concentrate on the silly mistakes he made in series number 1 of the day.
Yeah.
So that is just going over Overlord placement, simple fundamentals, Overlord placement, unit placement, scouting, reading the game, because that is just crucial to a Zerg player. If you don't react, then how are you going to play the reactionary race?
It's going to be difficult as we get into game at number 1 now. On Derelict Watcher, and spawning up to the top right-hand position are red Protoss, representing ESC Icy Box as well as Germany. Give it up for ShoWTimE. And down to the bottom left, Blue Zerg, representing Team Acer as well as Poland. Give it up for Nerchio.
Two players here from 2 neighboring countries representing their country. The last 2 players to represent their country now in this tournament. Poland versus Germany. A situation we've seen a lot over the years in StarCraft 2 and other games as well.
Yep, there are 2 rival nations. And they don't do too badly against one another. We've seen, you know, Nerchio as of late. It would be hard to say that he doesn't stand atop the pile on Poland. You know, Tefel could have made a case for himself in the previous season, but Nerchio right now, with Mana not doing so well, Nerchio's kind of up there in Poland. But he needs to prove himself a little bit more as of late, because the results haven't fully backed that up.
Colaris, would you rather rule a country or a continent?
A continent would be really nice. How about yourself?
Well, I would go with the continent, and
Yeah.
hopefully that's what Nerchio can prove today, because he's already lost to a player from a different continent, so let's just forget about that. Let's consider and just remember that now he needs to step up his performances and really show us what he's worth here today. Otherwise, a player like ShoWTimE, you know, who played very well against 4GG in the opening series and did have to go up against a very difficult player, can beat him out. If he messes up and doesn't play well, ShoWTimE will win this series.
Yeah, he will. And we'll see what ShoWTimE wants to do going into this. I would like to see him go for something aggressive. You know, seeing how well it worked for Genius, then it could work out as well here. But as you said, Nerchio's going to be ironing out those creases. He's going to be so on top of his scouting to try and make sure that nothing like that happens. His tournament life is on the line, not only getting to the round of 8, but also staying in Premier for Season 4 going into 2014. So that's a really important, because Challenger is getting more and more competitive by the season.
And who the hell doesn't want to go to Canada?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to go to Canada? I've never been before. I want to go to Canada. But of course, the season finals is at Canada. One of these two players could go if they're able to achieve top 5 within this tournament, within this league right now. Currently, we're sitting in the round of 16. To be honest, we can say the round of 16, but there aren't even 16 players left in this tournament. We've already lost quite a few, and we will lose another one right here within this best-of-3 series, unfortunately. And which one is it going to be? It's time for the survival spirit to kick in, otherwise you're a goner.
Yeah, survival of the fittest, so important. And in Premier League, a league that's highly contested, as well as Challenger, I was mentioning before, that is getting more and more competitive. It's absolutely cutthroat here. And ShoWTimE, he's one of those newcomers that's breached his way in. Not doing too badly, but still needs to prove his mettle. Round of 16, the biggest challenge he has ever faced in his career. And oh boy, is it a big one.
It is a big challenge ahead of him. A big challenge to be able to go through Nerchio and then an awaiting 4GG, who has absolutely got his eyes on second place now that he can't have first. But anyway, as we can see with these builds, very regular setup, which is why I haven't really talked about it that much.
Yeah.
We've just got spawning pool into the natural hatchery, into a third hatchery, and focus on his economy, because on the other side of things, ShoWTimE's gone for a Nexus first. He's got his Forge down to get the cannon to protect his fast natural Nexus, which doesn't have too many units fast to be able to protect it for themselves. And then we do have the first tech choice coming in here from ShoWTimE in the likes of the Stargate, hidden away at the back of his main base.
Yeah, I like this option. Just try and harass and see what you can get done with it. At the very least, you force some spore crawlers. Now, Nerchio is going to follow up what he did in game number 2 against his previous Protoss opponent, which was the 6 30-minute Roach Warren, which is going to give him a little bit more comfort in comparison to what actually happened in game number 1 versus Genius.
Yeah.
And wow, even a little Evolution Chamber here. Probably, I would say, for the melee focus if he wants to go and deny that third.
It could be. He also does have the Roach Warren on the way. Could be for an attack upgrade if he has some kind of plan, maybe with Roach and Hydras. You know, a combination we see very often from Zerg players. But we'll see once that does finish up. The layer's now begun as well. These Phoenixes already on their way to find those Overlords, and he's found one on the right-hand side. And he's going to start doing some damage and taking them down one by one. And already, we do see a robotics facility coming in off just a single gateway, bear in mind. So what this is showing us is that he's not trying to, sorry, excuse me, let me just rephrase that. He is trying to rush out towards Colossus very fast from what it seems to be able to establish his third Nexus. But look at that, it is the melee upgrade, as you say. Talk to us a little bit about the differences between melee and then, of course, the attack upgrade.
Well, Nerchio, he loves that melee, just so that he can start pressuring that third base location and making it very, very hard for ShoWTimE to establish it. But coming back to what you were saying about the Robo facility, with probably the Robo Bay going very fast behind that, if he can get out a Colossus with a few gateway units himself, that's a pretty good setup to try and deny that kind of... Will it be in time if it comes?
And remember, Nerchio's seen nothing in this game. He is playing absolutely in the dark. A problem that we saw previous against Genius. But one good thing from here is that he has just, by losing units, seen the Phoenixes, and is going to lose a Queen here with a double pickup. He should be able to, as one Phoenix is going to join a little bit late to the party, so he'll have to pick up her twice. And he is going to get that. But the Spire is also down, so with the Spire play here, we're obviously going to see a switch up over to the air units, but is it going to get scouted? That's the most important thing for a Protoss player to see this coming.
Exactly, he needs to somehow zone out. He's picking up a few drones on transition, so that's nice for ShoWTimE. Resources lost here, 575 to 0. So good control by ShoWTimE, really making them worth their weight. But the Zergling's already moving into position, and ShoWTimE knows exactly the positioning of that. And that cannon is really, really well defended. These Zerglings are going to have a hard time at this base, I think.
Yeah, he's not going to do anything to that third base, isn't he? He's
No.
building a couple more Zlings here. But remember that he hasn't built any units that cost gas. There's no Roach Warren, there's no... I mean, there is a Roach Warren, but there's no Roaches. There's no Hydralisks.
Yeah.
There's no Hydralisk Den. So he's actually backed up 1,000 gas already here. And with 5 Phoenixes, he's not exactly going to have an easy time going Mutalisks.
And the second Stargate goes down already. Is this because he's seen so much focus on Lings and it's like, well, where is all your gas going to go?
Well, he knows his opponent's on 6 gases, but hasn't seen anything yet, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, well, where is it? By the way, your name is Nerchio, and you're actually very well known for going Spire play.
So it's a big tell. It's a very, very big tell. He sees the Baneling nest.
And I think that Nerchio said, well, I don't think I can break him right now. So maybe with Banelings I can, but still at this point, he's got so much gas banked up, and the Mutalisk switch is becoming more and more deadly because the focus over to Void Race is coming in, and then the Phoenix count is very low. It's only at 4. But where is he going to spend this gas? He's losing Overlord after Overlord. ShoWTimE's like, what the hell are you doing, bro?
Oh, and
Still hasn't seen it. He doesn't see the Roach Warren upgrading, doesn't see the Evolution Chamber upgrading.
There's got to be something going on, right? There's got to be something behind all of this. It's going to be 11 Corruptors to
With
start
Zerglings
things.
alone, remember?
Yeah.
So there's Void Rays being made 2 at a time. I'm getting a little bit nervous here for Nerchio, who is planning a Zergling Corruptor attack very soon. And I'm not too confident in how well that will go down. Obviously, if the Colossus is picked off, things are okay because there is no Forge upgrades at all in this game, if you didn't notice. That's kind of a big thing.
Whoa, just want to catch those units off guard, though, there. The Zerglings will move forwards, and the Zealots come along to reinforce.
Yeah.
There could be a prolonged game plan here from Nerchio to maybe try and get Hive out and then Brood Lords.
I'm really surprised there's no
what?
+1 attack, by the way, from ShoWTimE. I think that has to be just a mistake.
Yeah.
There's actually no reason not to get it at this point.
This is some interesting picking up, killing off as many Zerglings as
there's
can.
3 Void Rays, and there's about to be 5. If he warps in Stalkers with his next set of units, we'll see. Oh, I guess he doesn't have time. It's already here.
Yeah, there's actually not that much damage to kill off these Corruptors at the very beginning. Only 4 Stalkers and 2 Void Rays there, so it's going to take him a long while, but Nerchio pulls away for now.
And here comes the Mutalisk switch. 14 Mutalisks already. He's looking to get rid of the Colossus, get rid of the anti-air, and then come in with Mutalisks.
The Zerglings are still going to die very quickly regardless. He's trying to keep them out of range. A good focus fire. Actually, really good control by Nerchio to kill off the Colossi, chasing down those Zerglings.
To be honest, Mutalisks, even if they don't harass, they can harass because there's no real mobility for this army. But even if he didn't, they went straight for a fight. I think we could see Nerchio do very, very well for himself. But the Mutalisks, if they were to go towards the main base, and then he keeps the pressure with the Corruptors and Zerglings on the 3rd, things are getting more difficult, especially because we do see the melee upgrade number 2 coming in. He will start to tear these units down fast. And now the Phoenixes didn't quite see the Mutalisks. Well, we will see them now.
It was looking a little strange up until those Mutalisks came out. So now they are around, they're about, they're going to help out Nerchio quite a lot. He could actually catch off a few of those air units, but you know, this main's completely vulnerable. There's a cannon, but unfortunately everything else is being zoned out by the Corruptors.
No photon overcharge in the main. That would have helped.
Oh, it certainly would have. The Void Rays go to work on the Corruptors here, though. Kill off one of them, and the rest are going to retreat out. But look how many workers he already killed. 17!
Zergling's still just pondering in the middle of the map here. There is an Overlord looking, not an Overlord, sorry, an Overseer looking for them, but he has lost a lot. 22 workers already gone down. ShoWTimE's taken a lot of damage. Behind this, Nerchio has taken a 4th and a 5th base, is mining, and will have a lot of gas. And the Mutalisks and Corruptor count will continue to rise here. And Nerchio just saying, screw it to ground units, no Roaches, no Hydras, thank you very much. I'm all right with air and Zerglings.
Yeah, Corruptors and Mutalisks are the weapon of choice. And for Nerchio, you know, this is his comfort zone. And as casters, we know that this is where Nerchio likes to get to and wants to get to. But even if you know it's coming, it's still really hard to shut down from the Protoss side of things.
So far, ShoWTimE has been doing okay. He's lost a lot, but his supply is still decent, 160. And he is surviving so far. There's still a couple of Colossus, and they are close to having +1 attack. Obviously, would have been nicer if they did have them. Nice swipe there from this, but the Viking count is rising as well. I think as he gets more comfortable, we'll see the fleet beacon come down to try to upgrade their range, but he needs to hang on. I think we'll see the Zerglings maybe try to get to the third base now as the Mutalisks go into the main.
Yeah, 20 Mutalisks breaching this location. Once again, and killing off so many workers. 36 have already gone down, and he just retreats out to the left-hand side again. He can't really pursue because he doesn't have the air army capable of pursuing.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage being dealt now, and the probe count that's been killed, 36, just Mutalisks swinging around. And the thing is that there's no way for ShoWTimE to get on the map. Nerchio's taken a 6th base as well, and this is what we saw a lot of him in the round of 32 doing similar styles.
And throws down the time warp to try and slow any of this aggression down here, but Nerchio could keep dancing if he wants to be. He actually kills off 1 or 2 of these Void Rays very, very quickly, blinks forwards with those Stalkers to try and push them away, and he will do for now.
Yeah. Got to be careful with those Phoenixes. Those Phoenixes are very crucial in defeating these Mutalisks, but the point is that there's so many Mutalisks. 27!
Oh, and he's just going to take the directive engagement here. The Zerglings charge in and try and buy a little bit of time for the Mutalisks and the Corruptors to do the damage that they want to do. The Corruptors have killed off the majority of the Void Rays, all of the Void Rays, and now they're going to go to work on everything else because the Mutalisks as well killed off all the Stalkers.
I think we may see the 2 letters appear very, very soon in the middle of our screens as ShoWTimE drops down to 100 supply. Mutalisks running this game. There's 12 more on the way as well as +2 attack. And things are just going crazy. Nerchio says, you know what, I actually don't mind if I lose every single unit here, as long as I kill every single unit of yours.
Yeah.
Because I have 6 bases, bro.
That's a lot of gas. That's a lot of gas. 1,200 income at any given point in time. And these Corruptors, they force out that GG along with the Mutalisks. Nerchio takes game number 1. And
there's that Nerchio grin.
He's like, he let me get Mutalisks.
Wow, Cloris.
That's what he said.
I haven't seen that grin for a long time. You remember when he beat Youngwar at Home Story? That grin was everywhere. Every map he won, he was like, and then In Control was so funny. I want Nerchio just to go through so we can have some In Control jokes on Nerchio again.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. I will control the world. And all these evil jokes. But now ShoWTimE.
That's who Nerchio is. He's Megamind.
He is kind of like that,
Megamind. Oh, that's cool.
ShoWTimE in a difficult place. Very, very difficult as he stares at the screen waiting for the game invite and is now 1 game away from finishing in last place in this group. As Nerchio, I think, realizes there's a camera in his face. Gets ready for map number 2 here. Going over to Whirlwind. Remember, this was Nerchio's map number 1. It was his pick. It was his choice. And there is the GG moment, by the way. I think ShoWTimE's like, well, what do you do? It's going to be a little bit difficult. Whirlwind's another map where we can see Nerchio just going for exactly the same style. And he makes it work really, really well on a map like Whirlwind. I'm pretty sure we saw it in the round of 32 on this map against his Protoss opponents. So that's certainly something that can come out. And how does ShoWTimE react? What does he do to deal with his opponent when Mutalisks are out in the field, Apollo? Build the Phoenixes.
Build the Phoenixes. All right.
That's how easy Protoss is as I look at Grubby in the eyes. Grubby agreed with me.
He did. He's shaking his head now. He's doing whatever he wants. Okay, guys, game number 2. Moving on into Whirlwind to see who advances on to play against 4GG, as we have spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner as our red Protoss representing ESC, Icy Box, as well as Germany. Give it up for ShoWTimE. And up to the top left-hand corner, our blue Zerg, representing Team Acer, as well as Poland. Give it up for Nerchio. That always reminds me of Star Wars, that music. I don't know.
It does a little, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh well, lots of stars in this world. StarCraft, Star Wars, they're all good.
All right, Grubby just passed me a note of paper.
Yeah?
Oh my God, I've got...
What does it say?
It says, this is how to beat Nerchio. I think it's all like pigeon scratch writing. This is how to beat Nerchio. You have to 6-gate.
You have to 6-gate.
Wow, okay.
Thanks, Grubby.
All right, we'll see if that's the choice here. Is it going to be a gateway expand?
Okay, so this opens up options to go for something a little bit more aggressive in terms of that gateway kind of play. Of course, you can do it off the back of a Nexus with Forge as well, but it doesn't really streamline as well as it does with this gateway focus.
Gateway focus, I think I like this from ShoWTimE.
Yeah.
Going for the Nexus first here into the Stargate play against the way that Nerchio plays is rather difficult, isn't it? But I mean, if you look at that previous game, if you were to say ShoWTimE, I think you did this wrong and you could have done better here. What really is that? Like,
There's not a whole lot.
he went Nexus first, then he went over to the Stargate play, Phoenix harassed, went
Yeah.
for the fast Colossus, took a third, and then was on the back foot all game long. So when you look at it that way, and I think that's probably the way that he's looking at it, he's saying, you know what, I'm just going to do something completely different. Let me go Gateway expand. Let me have the option to be a little bit more aggressive. Let me have the option to maybe take the game to Nerchio, rather than sit back on a very passive play style. And that's what we're seeing here, this change-up. And we'll see what it means for him.
We shall. He's already building himself that nice little wall at the top of the ramp just to make sure he's safe, but that's by the by here as Nerchio sees the exact timing of when this Nexus is going to go down. Knows it's a Gateway expand, already knew that before with the absence of that Nexus. Oh wait, did he actually even scout into that? Yeah, okay, he did see the wall. So yeah, he knows what's going on from his opponent.
And ShoWTimE knows where the Overlord is too, from this position. A really key focus point for Nerchio, by the way, is to get the Overlord that's in the middle of the map all the way around to the back of ShoWTimE's base, because he won't really see what's coming. And that is very important in the position that they've spawned, because if that Overlord doesn't get there in time, ShoWTimE could throw down a Twilight Council for DTs, a bunch of gateways for an attack, anything he wants, because he's going to go up here now and see the third hatchery being built. So ShoWTimE knows that Nerchio's opened up without gas, most likely here, for a fast third hatchery, and is going to sit back rather defensively. A very easy way to try to get pressure down onto the Zerg player is to get a probe out and to build a pylon around that third base in conjunction with Warp Gate finishing, so you could build Zealots over and over and over again. That may be something he aims for here, but as we can see on the map, there's nothing out. There's no probe, there's nothing yet.
Yeah.
Extra gateways have come down. Surely we must see a little bit of pressure from him here.
Yeah, it's good spawning positions too as well. The probe starts heading out into the middle of the map, so he does have a little bit of an opportunity to actually start doing that if he wants to. But the Overlord, does he spot that? Yes, he does. So
yeah, and Nerchio's already on it, so he's got 4 lings right on it right away, and he knows that's the only probe out. But the Mothership Core is going to push it away for now. One thing we don't see yet from Nerchio is any gases. He immediately throws it down now, as I said. It's just at 6 minutes, but we could still see pressure come out from ShoWTimE here. I really think we will.
I think so as well. It'll be nice to actually go for some. It's at least going to have Phoenix to go for a Stargate, unless he copies what we saw from Elfie and Wellmu, which is that kind of weird Oracle attempt at doing some damage with gateways. But that's a little bit later than it would have been from those guys. So Ro16 goes down in a timely fashion for Nerchio as well, after skipping it in that very first game of the day, just to make sure he's stable and sturdy.
Well, he's got the Oracle on the way behind this. Okay, so, I mean, he's going to try and join. Oh, and actually, I say join, but, I mean, the Oracle's waypointed in a different direction to where... But now seeing the Spore Crawl, he might change his option here.
Yeah.
But he's going to try and pressure this base. There's no Zerglings with speed. It's only slow Zerglings at the moment. But unfortunately, the reinforcement pylon's so far away.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit hard here. Tries to force himself into a corner and runs on away.
So the gateway did not work. This gateway 3 gateway pressure didn't work, unfortunately. But the Oracle maybe. But it's shown already. There's a Spore Crawl in the main mineral line. So
yeah, he's going to see it later. But again, you know, he's already set up for the defense. So maybe there'll be 1 or 2 drones dying off at that gas if he can position himself well. But it's going to be a Void Ray follow-up. And, well, this can lean over to just securing himself another base, especially with that Forge now going down. And the pylon dies off as well. So, I mean, the Oracle's... ShoWTimE's kind of dead in the water here. He has to find some way to do something.
Well, if he's tried a lot of different things now, hasn't he? He's tried 3 Zealots, he's tried the Oracle. The Oracle actually can't beat this Queen, and he's going to go for the drones, though. There's no Queen close at the moment to actually come help this out, and he's killed quite a few drones. That is a good start, right? He's got 6 drones, 7.
Nice control as well. Very meticulous about that.
That's okay. Now he's finally got something done with himself. He does have a Forge behind it, and then has started Void Ray production too. So, I mean, the options for him to choose from at this point is he can go towards taking a fast third base with Void Rays, which is the most likely one. There is this spin-off where he tries to throw down a bunch of gateways and does an awkward timing here. But as we can see, it looks like he is lining up towards that.
And then it's going to be up to him to hold off Zergling Hydra.
Zergling Hydra with a couple of roaches here. So we probably will see a spy come down soon enough.
Yeah.
Because what Nerchio's maybe expect, remember he hasn't really seen too much in this game, maybe is the robotics facility coming down. But initially we will see a timing here from Nerchio to try and do a lot of damage towards this third with the melee upgrade, with Hydras behind it, with roaches behind it, and just a swell of units, try to break this third base down.
And the real determining factor here is, can ShoWTimE land good force fields? Because if he can keep those Hydralisks back from the wall of Void Rays that he's going to be having here, eventually, once these Zerglings have been shooed away.
That's a lot of Zerglings though, isn't it?
That is,
And
yeah.
they are going to have that plus on melee in, I don't know, about 50 seconds or so.
But yeah, what I was saying is that, you know, the force fields, if you can keep those Hydralisks away from the Void Rays, you slowly pick away at them, and then Void Rays don't really die too quickly to Hydralisks that just can't reach. So that's a really important thing for him. Ooh.
That was okay here, but he's got to keep the force fields going okay. More Zealots are getting warped in, but I think there are too many Zerglings.
That is a lot of Zerglings. Killing off all of these sentries, they're so valuable.
I was going to bring up a point where on Whirlwind, when you take your third up on the high ground, sentries become very useful because obviously you're going to prevent the units from coming up. But now I'm down to one sentry. He's not going to be able to deal with that amount of Hydras that are on the way. Zerglings flooding in. It looked okay at first, because I thought Nerchio was going to run away, but he turned around, took the fight, and now we're in this awkward position where there's a big attack coming, as described earlier, with Hydra range complete, Hydra speed on the way.
Did those two force fields from seen by Nerchio kind of prompt him to turn around? He's like, you have 4 sentries there, you've just wasted 2 force fields, I'm not really walling that off, so I can turn around and go for the fight when you don't have that many force fields.
He read it really well. ShoWTimE's getting nervous, he's making mistakes, he's pylon blocked at 110 and actually really stuck there. He's going to have to build a lot of units, and as we can see, Nerchio is starting to climb up with his own unit count, and there's a lot of Hydralisks about to try to attempt to break this. There is the Photon Overcharge going to be available and a Time Warp. He's had to replenish a lot of those sentries. He's going to have to really land his force fields well. He's going to have to build cannons in hope of defending this area.
He knows he's in a tight spot. He knows he's in a tight bind. Those cannons.
Can he do it?
Oh, well.
He's got +1 attack on his units. Likewise does Nerchio for his Zerglings.
Look at the firepower of Nerchio, though. 92 army supply against 58. If
Nerchio wants him to come down here.
Yeah.
He needs to really use Photon Overcharge. He's got 2 cannons on the natural. He doesn't really need to fight on the low ground here, I don't think. He needs to actually hug the Nexus.
A lot of Hydras with a lot of firepower here, as they do have Groove Spines as well as the Muscular Augments.
4 force fields for a couple of units there. Double cannons. He needs to get the Photon Overcharge in between, so he can Photon Overcharge and maybe land a force field on the ramp if...
He's trying to force a fight. He's trying to force a fight. He's now saying, look, if you do not fight me, this natural is going to take a lot of damage. Look at the concave he's set up at the bottom here. This is really good by Nerchio.
He's waiting, and he's just tickling this natural. ShoWTimE's going to cave under the pressure. He's going to cave, and he's going to come fight, and that's what Nerchio wants.
He absolutely has to. He has force fields. How well is he going to use them? Oh.
He knows that's a lot of units there. There's double pylons trying to help this, I don't know what, the gateway, but he needs to fight, and he needs to fight well.
He really does. Even a queen here as well. To have energy for any transfuses, I mean, it's a small thing, but yes, it does. So that could keep alive a few of these Hydralisks as they're, well, he's going to try and go for the engagement here. Photon Overcharge is also trying to help out, but at the same time, the Void Rays, they had a good position for a second there.
He's being patient, but this is what Nerchio wanted. He's going to come in here. The force fields aren't beautiful. They're not actually locking a lot of these units on the left-hand side. How well these were just going to help out. There's so many Hydralisks.
The force fields aren't doing too badly, but in the end, he just doesn't have that much. The Hydralisks doing a lot of damage to the Zealots up to the top here, microing those back. The Hydras at the front also killing off the majority of the Void Rays, whilst Photon Overcharge is going to dissipate in the main as well. 147 supply to 94. Nerchio is in a really good spot.
And imagine if he didn't lose those sentries earlier on and didn't have to play like this. GG. And Nerchio is going to move on to the final game of the evening against 4GG. And unfortunately, ShoWTimE will finish in last position in this group.
Those sentries dying off. That was the absolute pivotal moment there. Nerchio, I bet he was given as that cheeky grin there as soon as he saw those sentries go down. He knew that depth push was going to do a lot of damage, and he executed it well.
Yeah, he did. And Nerchio picks up a 2-0, does redeem himself a little bit when it comes to Protoss versus Zerg here today. But now he goes up against an interesting match, to be honest. They've got a lot of history between them, Nerchio and 4GG.
Yeah.
A lot of back and forth banter, good or bad manage. You can decide on what you think about that. But he will go up against 4GG in our last match, and that, for me, is going to be a very good game. I'm so much looking forward to that one. But a valiant effort here from ShoWTimE, of course, beating MVP twice in the round of 32, made it to the live show here in Cologne at the WCS studios, but unfortunately today was not his day. But he has picked up a lot of experience points when it comes to playing here in the studios.
Yeah.
And will go down to Challenger League, will fight through one more time, and hopefully if he plays well there, can make it back into the Premier League for 2014.
Yeah, that's certainly where he wants to be. It was a valiant effort in Season 3, got to say, from ShoWTimE. In round of 32, defeating MVP twice. Very impressive stuff, but now has to kind of work it back up. So Nerchio advances on to play against 4GG. One of these two is going to advance to the round of 8. And, well, Nerchio, it's going to be... 4GG is pretty good in this matchup.
Well, the thing is, both of the players, 4GG and Nerchio, know each other very well. So it is hard to describe how the series is going to unfold, and it is going to be a good matchup. I'm really certain of it.
So am I. All right, guys, we can send it over to an interview with our victor. Moving on to the final match of the day, Mr. Acer Nerchio.
Thank you very much. Yes, with Arthur, congratulations. Fantastic win for you. And a straightforward 2-0 win as well. So we'll talk about the games in a moment. But firstly, you kind of brought a different version of Nerchio along for the second match tonight. Explain. We've had a little chat backstage, but explain to the viewers why that is.
I actually don't know exactly, but my first match in the tournament, like first match, best of 3, on each day is usually going worse. Even though I'm warmed up, it doesn't really make sense. But in DreamHacks, I usually lose like first top 16 on the next day after group stage. I don't know. It's just the first match is always bad.
Yeah, well, you've got it out of your system at least, and the second match was much better. Talk us through map 1.
Actually, I know how ShoWTimE plays, so I didn't want to play risky. I know he will go for the Void Ray style, also fast Colossus, so I countered with Corruptors, and I expected him, you know, it's kind of, he needs to balance the Phoenix and Void Rays on his part. Because if he makes too many Void Rays, I make many Mutalisks and he just can't catch up. If he doesn't make too many Phoenix, then I can overwhelm him with Corruptors. So that's how it went.
Okay, and then second map, what were you thinking for second map? Were you actually like tempted to be really super aggressive straight away, or how did you think about it?
No, actually, I knew he's going for the Oracle that game, even though you know, I didn't scout. I just saw his game when he was playing that. So I actually thought about going like 15 one-base peelings, and it would work as well. But yeah, I just put a spore in my main because I knew there was an Oracle coming. Well, and then I just played straight up.
How do you, I mean, how do you have any advice for ShoWTimE? He's a young guy, obviously he's 19 right now. It's his first really, really big tournament that he's come to. Have you got any experienced words of wisdom for him?
Well, there's not much to say. I guess play as many tournaments as you can. Definitely helped me when I was playing a lot of online cups. It just gets used to the feeling, you know, when you're in the tournament match and you always have to do your best, and you're sometimes in between games. You can stress yourself out too much. Yeah.
Okay, 4GG is next for a place in the round of 8. So this is a big game. Deep breath there already. You're all ready for it. There's a little bit of history. Actually, no, let's not exaggerate. There's a lot of history between you two. Some good, some not quite so good. Does that have any part of your mindset before you go into this, or are you just like totally focused on taking him down this time?
Well, apart from everything that has happened, I'm actually quite worried because I know he has, at least versus me, quite strong ZVT, so I'm afraid I'm gonna get destroyed, but I will still do my best. I have something planned, let's say, in my mind. But no, it doesn't really affect me. It might affect 4GG more, I guess, a little bit, but definitely we played different than we played in the past, so the match will be also different.
Okay, I think you need to stop being so negative because I can feel Apollo coming towards me with some sort of shaking you version and drilling into you some confidence. But fantastic game in that one. Best of luck against 4GG, and let's see how you get on against that one. That game will be coming up very shortly, but first, let's break down exactly how Nerchio won 2-0.
Hello there, lovely ladies and gentlemen. I'll try to kind of provide some enlightenment here on the series, because ShoWTimE looked fairly chanceless, particularly here in Game 1. In Game 2, I'll briefly touch on Game 2. When you lose your sentries as a Protoss, you usually lose the game. There isn't much more to say about that. It's very hard to deal with that, because You don't have, yeah, you either need to replace the sentries so you can stay alive and defend, but then you won't have the tech, or you go to the tech without the sentries. It's tough. So something didn't work there. But let's look at game one, because all chances were still open. They were still 0-0 at that time. Now, Phoenix openings have so many utilities. You can do everything with Phoenixes. They add to your combat potential. They can clear the starting overlords. They can deny scouting. They can supply block the opponent. They can kill queens, drones. They can pick up roaches. And in the big fights, they can pick up infestors or kill some hydralisks. So they can do a lot of things. But let's speak about their main 3 objectives in the early game. 1, deny scouting and kill overlords and keep tabs on what the opponent is doing. Actually, that's actually a lot of things already. 2 is like kill the hurt the opponent's economy a little bit. Like kill as many drones as you can while keeping everything alive. Really get that unit's loss tab piling up for the Zerg while you're staying at 0. And the second thing, the third thing, and I think one of the most important things, is to get scouting information. Sometimes when you have 2, 3 Phoenixes, you have a choice. Maybe go kill some drones or queens, or do a flyby. Now, if you do a flyby behind the bases, here behind the third, and on the natural, let's say you fly into the natural here, you take a look here, and then you go into the main base, and you take a look at the most obvious hiding place behind. You're doing scouting info, but you're losing some time to kill stuff. Sometimes I get too excited with my Phoenix, and I'm just killing stuff. But there's almost nothing more important than getting scouting info about the opponent's tech choice, particularly when you're playing someone like Nerchio, who does know how to play normal games, but he loves going for Spire if you give him the chance. So Spire is going up now. It's at about 20-30%, and we see a Robo Bay at 50% for ShoWTimE. Now, a Robo Bay is for Colossi, and you don't need them against Zerglings. What you need is force fields, and that's pretty much it. Force fields, some cannon. You're not going to go challenge the Zerg on their territory initially, so you don't need Colossi, because you can't do a timing attack against Mutalisks. Very important to see it. I had a similar game against Vortex in the previous playoffs round, and when I saw the Spire, I cancelled the Robo Bay and made extra Stargate and Fleet Beacon. With 3 bases now, soon he'll have extra gas, but still he cannot afford double Stargate, Phoenix, Robo Bay, and still also a Fleet Beacon, Colossi, Thermal Lance, and so on. So while later on, maybe there were things he could do to potentially win the game, the most valid for sure is to point out that he didn't see the Spire in time and is still continuing to invest in Colossi, which is the most gradual way to develop your tech tree as a Protoss. Fleet Beacon would have been nice. Double Stargate, Void Ray, and Phoenix did okay for a while, but as soon as those 10 gases kicked in, Nerchio expanding, there wasn't really anything ShoWTimE could do, because he cannot send Zealots. There's Zalnaga towers guarding the bases, there's too many Zerglings on the field, so he has to win the air battle first before he can look for some victory on the ground. And once you have a good amount of Phoenixes and Void Rays, you can do what Hero often does, is he sends his Phoenixes across the map, he takes a page out of Zerg's book and go do some worker harass with those Phoenixes. With 0 counteraction from ShoWTimE against Nerchio, very difficult to fight up against those 10 gases. And this is a game where Nerchio is in his natural habitat. And it's like a panda with bamboo. Really, isn't it? So he was in his natural habitat. This is the phase that Genius never let him get to. And this is the phase that ShoWTimE did let him get to. 3 against 5 base, didn't work. Well played by ShoWTimE. He showed some strength and resilience here, but it was a downhill battle. And Nerchio, for him, it's an uphill battle, as he now goes into the final match of the day against 4GG. Let's go over to Paul for the next segment. Thanks for listening.
Okay, that's a really weird angle right now. Anyway, thank you, Grubby. And we are headed off to our final game of the evening. Thank you, all of you who have been tweeting earlier on this evening with all your predictions. A lot of you went for 4GG, me included, as the winner of the group. And unfortunately, that proved wrong. So that eliminated quite a lot of you. There aren't that many of you that predicted Genius winning the group and ShoWTimE finishing last, and then flipping between 4GG and Nerchio. So there's still a few of you alive, which is great. Don't forget, we are closed now. No one else can enter, because it would be unfair now. You already know 2 of the positions. It would be easy now. However, we will give away one of the collector's editions before the end of the evening. And straight after this match, we'll let you know.